wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
Hello. Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show live every weekday starting at noon Pacific time. I appreciate all of you joining in even before the show begins. I love all of you. As we wait for Kim McAllister, who I've been loving filling in for Mark Thompson, and it was also great to see Mark Thompson over at his show. Make sure, of course, you like and subscribe this show, as well as Mark's show, the Mark Thompson Show, and Chip Franklin's show, What the Franklin. All can be found on YouTube, as we all left that Station X. As we're thinking about it, please click that thumbs up button. It's the way we like to start the show. And of course, we always also like to say a big thank you to our exclusive founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz, 888 Tax Deal, or MoskowitzLLP.com. And Steve will come on during the show. And we have a great show coming up. Yes, we will be getting into former President Trump's latest grift. And this one, I know everyone's been talking about it. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but this one's absolutely ridiculous. I was mentioning to Chip earlier when I was on his show, what did that conversation sound like? At what point does the former president of the United States look around the room and say, this trading cards with this picture on it, that's my next great idea. That's what we should do. That's gonna win over America. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. There's some polls that not only look at the former president's chances to win in 2024, because again, he is the only one that's announced he's running. Not even our current president, Joe Biden, has confirmed that he's running. He, of course, expects to run and blah, 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 but no announcement has officially been made. But we'll look at the polls comparing Trump, President Biden, and of course, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who is I think 20 points above Trump right now and has not yet announced that he's running in 2024, but everybody expects him to. The attack on birth control has begun. This is a Trump-appointed judge who is opening the door through this one case that I'll get to in a little bit on birth control. And I'll pose the question to you all in the live chat. When it comes to birth control, should it be available no matter a person's age? How would you feel if your underage child had access to birth control without your knowledge? So you guys tell me. I'll tell you what I think. Kim, when she joins us, I'm sure we'll have her thoughts on that as well. From Kentucky Fried Chicken, from KFC to San Jose, some more ridiculous gun stories. Did you hear the KFC one? This is what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not a gun hater. My husband owned guns. I have family that owns guns. I have friends that own guns. They're responsible gun owners. But these types of stories are why not everybody should have access to a gun. TV, Thursday Night Football. I don't know why the hell the Niners and Seahawks game is on Thursday Night Football, but I'm really happy to know that here locally, because I'm in San Jose, California, for all of you that do not live here, it's on our local TV. So I'm really excited about that. I know somebody, and let's welcome Kim McAllister, somebody on your show when you were filling in for Mark, informed us that I don't have to watch Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. We could watch it on local channel 2, which is amazing because I like to watch it on local TV. I don't particularly care to turn on Amazon Prime. I like to record it a little bit and then, like my dad, not watch all of the commercials. So we'll talk about that. The Survivor finale was on last night. It's still 3 hours long. I was not happy. My husband was happy. So if any Survivor fans are out there, which hands down, still an amazing show. I know it's been on forever, but I was not happy with the ending. We will touch on the holiday season. Who else is exhausted by this magical time of year? I'm totally exhausted.
have you sent Christmas cards?
See, this is going to be one of my questions to people. So I am so far behind on even family pictures. The family pictures we have in my house, my
Yeah.
daughter still has a pixie haircut. And now
Oh.
she has long hair. So you know how long it's been
Yeah.
for my daughter to grow out her pixie haircut. It's been years and it's terrible. I feel awful. And so there's no way in hell. I mean, I've sent Christmas cards. I think we sent one last year or the year before. We were like in our PJs. I think I put my phone on a timer. It wasn't really professional. But no, are you a Christmas card sender?
So I failed last year. It was just, I don't know. Maybe it was the whole COVID thing. I didn't have COVID, but just like, I don't know. I just didn't do it. But I noticed that when you don't do it, then you seem to get fewer year by year.
I don't
Like
care. I
it
don't
kind
care.
of is a dwindling thing.
I love
Well,
getting them, but I don't care that I don't.
but
That
I
makes sense.
agree because it's just like paper, and what are you going to do with it? Throw it away, right?
Well, I
Some
like them. I
people
like to see them. I hang them in my house all holiday season.
totally, but then
Yeah.
after the Christmas is over, what do you do with them?
Bye. Well, no. Yeah. It matters. No. No.
But
I
I
throw 'em
feel
away.
like I feel like in some cases that really that's the only point of contact I may have with some people. You
Uh-huh.
know, we may have moved far away from each other or whatever, and so it's the only kind of contact other than Facebook or whatever that you have with someone. And so it's nice to reaffirm that connection with each other.
Exactly. I
But
agree.
then again, it's like, do I really it's what, December 15th? And I gotta hustle if I'm gonna
You
do
want to
Christmas cards.
you want to know what I do? What I did one year is I didn't send Christmas cards. I sent New Year's cards.
I've done that in the past.
So that you actually have a grace period, because even if they come after New Year's, I mean, what's the rule? I mean, people are still wishing people a happy New Year's almost to February, right?
Right,
So,
that's true.
no, I feel no guilt during the holidays, but I do feel exhausted. And when we talk about this, I mean, how do you think that you're more exhausted when you're a parent, or is it just as exhausting even if you don't have kids? Because I know some people, it's even if they don't have kids, they have company parties to go to, they have a
Right.
large family. And so, all you large family people, and then I want to get into this one article that your husband actually sent me, Kim,
Oh,
talking about, and it's a great article, and I read it, and it resonated with me so much. It's the gift giving. And how do you give gifts to kids without making them either spoiled brats, but at the same time, you want to make it magical. So
right.
the magical holiday season is friggin' exhausting. And so, yeah, we'll
I
kind of
second
bitch and
that
moan about
motion.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think when you have kids, it's so much more work because everything is
yes.
on you to make like I just like, are they gonna grow up and say, our Christmases sucked? We never
Mm,
got, we never I don't know. I hope not. I hope that the house looks pretty and that they remember certain decorations and smells and that you know what I mean? Like I
yeah.
want them to have those memories.
Sometimes I feel like the idea that they'll keep those memories outweighs what they really do remember. And
Right.
so I don't want to stress myself out and be angry and all those sorts of things, because I know that that's what they'll definitely remember is mom being, run ragged and haggard and
Right.
all that sort of thing to make things magical.
Yeah.
If we have time, I do want to touch on the 4-day school week. This is becoming more and more popular, apparently. I think it's Missouri. The independent school district out there has just adopted a 4-day school week. Now, they don't get less instruction time. They have a longer school day. And I want to ask people what they think about that. And then finally, I will hopefully get into that crazy bad review that led to a business at least temporarily closing. And should you put companies on blast on Yelp or Facebook when you know there can be collateral damage? So that'll come up in the second hour. But first, we have to, the most important thing, of course, one of the most important things, of course, is I have merchandise to announce today and to show off. So this is the first thing that I will show off. This is the Nikki Medoro mug. What do you think about that?
Oh.
I know it looks a
I
little.
think I want one to use on the Mark Thompson show. I want to see his reaction.
Oh, you should totally do that. Okay,
That's
so
what I want. I want to take a big sip of hot chocolate with my Nikki Medoro mug.
hot chocolate.
I
Just like this coffee. So this is the first thing that I'm going to unveil. This is the cup. Many people wanted a coffee cup, and so I have made it. This is
Yeah.
actually the second version. I made another version, and I kept that one for myself because it didn't pan out the way I wanted it to. So I promised that everyone in my Patreon had first dibs, and thank you to everybody that's hopped on and already purchased merchandise. So you're asking yourself, where do I get such a mug? Now, very easy to remember the website. My website is the NikkiMedoroShow.com. Just change that W to a P, and it's the NikkiMedoroShop.com. And you'll find all of the merchandise that I have so far. We have other plans in the works. You guys are sending me ideas. I appreciate it. So you can go on there. So this is the first piece of merchandise that I will show off today. It is a cup. It's black. You can get a white one as well, although I like the black one. And so there you go. There's the website. And easy peasy to remember. And it's dishwasher.
Set that website up for you. That's amazing.
It took me a little bit, but I was able to do it on my own.
You did it yourself?
I know. Be proud of me, and thank you.
I am so proud of you. Like I would have thought you and David were working on it.
It's not that detailed. It's pretty simple.
That's amazing.
There's no arts and crafts or anything like that. But a Nikki Medoro Show nutcracker. Do you know that I like this idea so much because I have such gigantic teeth? So I think that would be an amazing idea. I don't know if the company I use to make my merchandise makes nutcrackers, but I'll look into it. All right.
You even have models. Who's your model?
They provide that.
Wow.
Look at Kim. She's so proud of me. I love it. Thank you, Kim. Everybody give me praise. Are you really? It was less difficult than I thought it was going to be, but it took a little bit of time. So yeah, you could take me home with you as merchandise, of course. I don't know. I don't
have the hot chocolate there with the white cup.
I know the website does it for you. It's all set up. So there you go. There's the website. Oh, will Nugget have its own line of merch? Mo is asking.
That's a great idea.
Just thought of that because I showed you, Kim, last week what I got as a present for my husband. Hopefully he's not listening, but let's just say Nugget's included in it. Maybe. He is my K9 co-anchor. Oh, he's not even here. I thought he was behind me. He's not even here. He's slacking on the job. Okay, good. So we'll touch on that. I have more things to unveil and to show off.
I want that. I want that cup and that drink.
You want the whipped cream cup. It's like hot cocoa just for you.
Yeah, I want that.
Sell shot glasses. Oh, there you go.
How much is that? Ooh, $18. But you hold that up again in your hand because that's a big coffee cup.
It's a normal size. I think I didn't want to get too big because some people don't like gigantic coffee cups because I have gigantic ones and I realize putting that crap away in the cupboard takes up way more room. It's just a standard cup. It really is. Has a nice little logo. And so I've got tote bags, I've got t-shirts, so I'll be showing those off throughout the show today. Now, I don't have something that Donald Trump has, which is my own trading card, Kim McAllister. But I cannot.
Glasses. That's good.
I really can't believe that the former president thought that it was a great idea to do trading cards. So let me show you the picture.
Big announcement.
If you have not seen this trading card, you can't find that. Hold on. You can't find that on my, thank you. I was like, you cannot find that on my website. There it is. That was his big announcement. Who was the artist? Did they just superimpose his dumbass face on top of some other, I don't know, superhero? Absolutely ridiculous. At what point do people just think this guy has lost his mind with this nonsense? It just blows my mind. So what is it? It's Morning Joe, I think, on MSNBC. Why Mika Brzezinski is on there. It's so funny to listen to the reaction to these cards. Here is Mika Brzezinski again on MSNBC reacting to it.
Obviously, the sense that perhaps the show is shutting down, the Trump show, it starts with the January 6th convictions that we're seeing along the way, the results of the midterm elections, these polls showing Ron DeSantis beating Trump in a matchup that doesn't even exist because Ron DeSantis hasn't even announced.
Hasn't even decided what he's going to do.
Obviously, some experts would see this as like the fish flapping on the dock, but the fish could fall back in the water. And here's Donald Trump.
One way to put it.
Here's Donald Trump announcing
doing
something.
Flipping and
on
flopping
his
here. Take a
platform.
Look.
America needs a superhero.
We are in third grade. I mean, we are in third grade.
I thought that was going to be that's what it was?
I just love how they were losing it. I mean, this is a former president of the United States of America saying he has a major announcement, and it's a freaking trading card. Now, along with these are limited edition cards. They feature this is what he wrote. My Donald Trump digital trading card collection is here. These limited edition cards feature amazing art of my life and career. Collect all your favorite Trump digital trading cards, very much like a baseball card, but hopefully much more exciting. Go to the website and get your cards now. Only $99 each. $99 would make a great Christmas gift. Don't wait. They'll be gone, I believe, very quickly. And then, of course, he's also promoting an NFT collection that will feature some incredible artwork and chances to win prizes that would be dispensed among purchasers.
It's just, anything to get money.
Crazy.
Anything to get money from people. And the sad part is there are people that will buy that. There are thousands of people that will buy that. These, rabid Trump supporters can't wait to get their hands on it.
I mean, part of me understands buying things as a collector's item because this is insane. I mean, it really is. But it's digital, which also, bothers me, right? I want something tangible that I can have in my hand. What am I going to do with a digital trading card? I could take that picture and save it on my computer, and it's the same friggin' thing. I mean, what is the difference? I have zero idea. Floyd. Oh my God. WTF. What a joke. You got to give him credit. Yeah. Something to absolutely laugh at. Yeah. I mean, I'm always laughing at him. I'm really just dumbfounded. Yeah. Merry Griftmas. Exactly, John. It's a grift. $99 as well. Again, for a digital card. But again, at this point, you guys do realize he is the only person that's officially announced that he's running in 2024. This is a presidential nominee that we're talking about. And of course, the polls are not looking good for him against Ron DeSantis. And what does that mean for him? So on CNN, the New York Times, Maggie Haberman, she was on with a number of CNN hosts that I'll play you for in just a minute. And they were talking about the polls that do not look good for Donald Trump. But does that mean necessarily that he's going to step out of the race? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. So here, let's play this one. This is, I think, with Caitlin Collins starts out, and again with Maggie Haberman from the New York Times.
Among Republicans and those who lean to the right, only 38% want Trump to be their nominee. Even more striking when those same voters were asked who should be the nominee, who's the next person. The clear leader and clear favorite was Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. 53% say they prefer anyone but Trump. So joining us now to talk about this is Maggie Haberman, CNN's political analyst, and of course from the New York Times. I feel like you can kind of hear the screams from Mar-a-Lago from here over those numbers when it comes to
Going
DeSantis.
like this, yes. I don't think any of this is making Donald Trump happy. And this is, the CNN poll looks like what we've seen with other polls. This is clearly a trend. Donald Trump's calling card is strength and being seen as strong within his party. And when that starts to erode, it's very hard for him to keep other people at bay. Now, he's the only person who's running right now. You wouldn't know that, Caitlin, because he's done no events. I can't really remember the last time I saw somebody announced for president and do literally nothing. I'm told it's going to change next month, but we'll see what happens. But this is obviously not where Trump wanted to be.
No, it's not. And every time his name is mentioned, so is DeSantis's name. So you can't like that. It's like free advertising for Ron DeSantis. Now, again, we have President Biden. So it's this big question mark. President Biden has said that he's going to make an official announcement or a decision early next year. So is Trump a threat to Biden, or is Ron DeSantis? So here again is Maggie Haberman again on CNN. And they're trying to figure out, we've had the Inflation Reduction Act. We've had the Respect for Marriage Act. Inflation is heading in the right direction. So they're kind of mulling who is really winning right now?
Because it's not just that people don't want a Trump-Biden rematch. It's that they don't know who they want.
Totally.
Exactly.
And isn't that kind of like worse for the president and former president? Because it's like, not only do we not want you, we don't even know who else we want, just not you.
Biden is the sitting president, so he is just definitionally in a stronger position. I'm sorry. He just is. And so even though, I know that there are a lot of people in his party who privately will say they don't want him to run, until those people start saying that publicly, Biden's in good shape. There's a lot of Republicans saying they don't want Trump.
Let me follow up on that, because Biden is winning.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
Biden
a
is
fair
winning.
point.
And I don't know what the polling is showing, but you look at the Inflation Reduction Act, lower gas prices, or prescription drug prices, better than expected midterm for Democrats, Brittany Griner's release from Russia, the Respect for Marriage Act. I mean, Biden is winning. So the polling, I don't know if the polling is off or what it's going to show, when he does decide. I think he's going to run. I mean, if his wife says run, he's going to do it.
All signs are that Biden's going to run. I think that, the White House is sending out conflicting signals, which is, don't write these stories that he's not running. And yet here we're going to have all these stories, we're going to tell you that he's debating what he's going to do. And so that's their own issue. But I agree with you that at the moment, all signs are that he is going to run. He certainly has wins at his back in a way that Donald Trump just does not.
And while I agree that there may be wind behind President Biden's back, it does concern me that, one, he hasn't officially announced, and two, I disagree. I don't think that President Biden is or should run. And I know you guys disagree with me. Many of you say I shouldn't say that out loud, but I don't. I don't think that he is the strongest Democrat that we could put in to run for president. Now, he's the incumbent. That is a huge, just like Maggie Haberman mentioned, you're always going to have, strength behind being the incumbent. Yeah. I don't know. Can he go up against DeSantis? And nobody knows how DeSantis is going to be as a presidential candidate. The guy's a doofus, in my opinion.
I feel like President Biden is getting older and older.
Yes, that's what happens. Yeah.
But if he's the only one that could beat a Trump or a DeSantis, then he has to run.
Yeah, but can he beat a DeSantis? I think most people think he could beat Trump again, but can he beat DeSantis? So one more clip from Maggie Haberman again, and she talks about Ron DeSantis.
One thing that was interesting about one of the polls yesterday, the Wall Street Journal poll showed Biden getting beat by DeSantis. Now, I want to caveat that we're 2 years out, and polls 2 years out don't really tell us a ton, but they do tell us a snapshot in time right now. Biden is strong against Trump. Trump is strong against Biden, or Trump is, stronger against Biden than I think he would be against anyone else. It reminds me a little of what we saw in 2016, which is that Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were the two who could beat each other. And I don't know what this looks like going forward if it's not Trump for Biden. It's just something to think about.
Yeah, and that's something the White House is watching, because Trump is known. DeSantis, he's gotten a lot of praise. We actually don't know how he would fare.
Really important to bear in mind.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We have no clue. And maybe he would do better than we think. Maybe he would do worse than we think. But that is something I think the White House is watching, because they don't know DeSantis's weak points in a sense like that. But as you said, we're so far out. And I think some voters are like, okay, let's just wait.
Let's just wait. And that's the truth. I mean, a lot can happen between then and now. Yeah. And Biden needs to decide whether or not he's going to run. If he doesn't run, I mean, that just causes chaos. It really does. Even though I don't think he should run, if he says he's not running, it's going to cause chaos within the Democratic Party, because who do you throw in? Kamala Harris would be the obvious choice, but doesn't seem to be very popular, doesn't do well in the polls. And so I don't know. It's going to be very interesting come next year when these sorts of announcements are made. And again, what President Biden can do in his last 2 years, given the fact that Republicans have control of the House. Speaking of that, I have one more clip to play you, because another person I can't stand is want to be House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Did you see this exchange between McCarthy and CNN's Manu Raju? I think it was the most unprofessional response to a valid question I had ever heard. So he starts off a little soft, so listen closely. But basically, Manu Raju is asking him about why McCarthy doesn't seem to have support to be speaker.
Has it been so hard for you to get 218 votes to become Speaker? When you have President Trump apparently lobbying on your behalf, you've been meeting with members of the Freedom Caucus, but the votes just aren't there. Why has it been so hard for you?
Have you spent any time with my conference? But I mean, you know what's amazing to me? Here we are with one of the biggest things going on spending, and I can always count on you for the most inappropriate question. But next question, yes.
That was all he said. That wasn't an inappropriate question. Being Speaker of the House is a big deal. We know Kevin McCarthy wants it, and we also know that there's many people within his own political party that do not want him to be. It is a valid question. Kevin McCarthy sucks. And I hope he doesn't become House Speaker. I hope he is not able to rally and he has to, sit there in defeat, because I don't think he's a true leader. A true leader would have answered the question, would have addressed the concerns within his own party on why they don't support him, and then said something to the effect of why he should be House Speaker. But he didn't, because I don't even think he knows why he should be House Speaker, because again, my original point, he sucks. So, you know who doesn't suck though? Kim McAllister. And who has a lot of answers. And when you ask him a straight question, he gives you an answer. Who is it? Who is it?
Steve Moskowitz. It's Steve Moskowitz. It's Steve Moskowitz.
There he is. There's the man himself. And, you don't shy away from the tough work or the hard questions or putting in the time to get people what they deserve and to fight against the IRS for them. I mean, you're the guy that people need to call when they have any sort of issues with the IRS or ERC or anything like that.
And that's so true in a lot of areas. First, with the case we were talking about yesterday, it's just so dramatic because most people either get ERC or they don't. But the case that we talked about yesterday,
insane.
The gentleman went someplace else, got a check for ERC for $100,000. And Nikki, if somebody knocked on your door and said, "Hi, here's a free $100,000 from the government," Nikki,
I would say thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much. But then he started talking to his buddies, and his buddies had much smaller companies that got a lot more money. Like one of his buddies got $300,000. He said, "Well, how could that be?" And then he talked to me, and I said, "Well, the first company only did the easy test, the drop in gross revenue. You only had a small period of time where you qualified for that." But I worked with him and his wife. His wife had this right on the dot, because every point I went over with him, the wife said, "See, I told you that. See, I told you that." And
wives are right.
Oh, of course. But she had, before I even talked to him, she had it point by point.
Nice.
And when I brought up the point, she says, "Yes, I told you that." And then, "Oh, yes, I told you that." And what happened is it wound up, he qualified to get more money under facts and circumstances because the other firm left $1 million on the table. He was entitled to 1.1. They took the 0.1, the 100,000, and he's getting an extra $1 million.
Oh, wow. And you're putting in the work to get him that money because you know how to do it. You know the easy way to get it, which of course, just as it
That's
says,
where
it's
we
easy.
start too.
Yeah, but the harder way.
With us is if you don't qualify the easy way, we don't say goodbye next, because a lot of firms are mass producing. I say, well, wait a minute. Do you qualify under the more complex area?
I love that you put in the work, Steve, because that just goes to show that you're there for your clients. So become a client of Steve Moskowitz. Give him a call, 888-TAX-DEAL or MoskowitzLLP.com. That's MoskowitzzLLP.com. Thank you, Steve. We love you.
Thanks so much. Love you
Bye-bye.
too.
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, come on. The guy got him $1 million. It's like hitting the lottery. I would have thought I hit the lottery for $100K, in all honesty. But, Steve's like, wait, but I can get you more. So give him a call again. 888-TAX-DEAL, MoskowitzLLP.com. Okay, so Kim's going to have news in just a moment. After that, though, I want to get into... We were warned of this, right? We were warned about Roe v. Wade. We were warned about gay marriage and interracial marriage, although the Respect for Marriage Act has sort of protected that. But now it appears it's begun, the attack on access to birth control. I will go into this case. It's called Deandra versus Becerra. And how basically they are trying to keep birth control away from certain people. So we'll get into that. Also, I have some crazy gun stories because, It'll just reinforce my belief that not everybody should have a gun. It shouldn't be as easy. And yes, of course, we'll touch on the Survivor finale. I saw some comments in the live chat. And yeah, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at all. So if you're a Survivor fan, I won't belabor the point because I know not everybody watches it. But if you did, I want to know what you thought about who was chosen and what that person said they were going to do with their money, because I think that's the only reason why my husband was happy with who won. So that's all coming up. Plus, of course, we'll be displaying some more merchandise. The Nikki Medoro Shop. The Nikki Medoro Shop is now open. And so you can go there and get some merchandise. I'll be showing some of that off. But first, let's do some news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Congress is being called on by those impacted by school shootings to pass some tougher gun laws. During a House hearing on gun violence, the sister of a victim in the Uvalde, Texas shooting called for a ban on assault weapons. Meanwhile, experts called to testify by Republicans said many Democratic proposals to restrict access to guns would do very little to stop gun violence and would mainly affect law-abiding citizens. Out-of-pocket spending on healthcare in the United States reaching the highest level in nearly 40 years. That according to new data from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Spending on healthcare grew by 2.7% last year. President Biden says he is very eager to travel to Africa. The 3-day U.S.-Africa Summit is where this was said. President Biden also voicing his support for the African Union to become a permanent member of the group of 20 nations. President Biden did not offer any other details on his potential visit to Africa, when it might happen. Oil and gas groups here in California say they have enough support to repeal a measure banning certain new oil and gas wells. The campaign Stop the Energy Shutdown claims they've collected nearly 1 million signatures to repeal it, but counties say the Secretary of State still needs to review and verify them. About 623,000 have to be deemed valid for that referendum to qualify. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is not entertaining any questions about possibly quitting sometime in the next 2 years. She was asked if she'll serve her full 2-year term in the new Congress, given that she is stepping away from Democratic leadership. While she responded by saying those kinds of questions are a waste of her time. The California Democrat adding reporters shouldn't even be asking her those kinds of questions. Meanwhile, some new details on the attack of Nancy Pelosi's husband really reveal that Governor Gavin Newsom was on the suspect's hit list. A man apparently planned to go to his home and others after allegedly hitting House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer 2 months ago. Those details revealed during a hearing yesterday where 2 witnesses testified. And of course, that suspect, David DePape, was held over for trial by the judge. California may be changing its rules on workplace safety relating to COVID. So the Cal OSHA Standards Board is voting today on a 2-year extension. If it passes, workers who test positive will not be paid anymore to stay home. The sequel to the highest grossing film of all time looks to be headed for a very big global opening this weekend. It is Avatar: The Way of Water, and it is launching with a $15.8 million start at the international box office. Domestically, the sequel projected to bring in between $150 and $175 million during its opening weekend.
3 hours, though? 3 hours? I'm used to streaming and pausing my movies now. They've trained me to do this. So while I watched the first Avatar, I don't think I've seen Avatar, and I'm going to be honest, I don't think I've seen the original Avatar twice. I think I've only watched it once. In the theater. It was long then, and now it's I don't know what the comparison.
I mean, it was cool special effects and
but
visually pleasing, but yeah, 150 to 175 million.
Hey ho!
And if it doesn't bring in that money,
exactly.
they spent so much to make it. It has to do well.
It has to. So tomorrow I'm going to have Tim Sika on. I'm going to get his take on that movie. Oh, and you won't want to miss Tim Sika coming on tomorrow, also because I emailed him. So funny story. I'm sitting there last Friday. I'm having my cocktail, and I was reading this article about this movie that's like, oh, I wish I could watch this movie again for the first time. And I love articles like that. It's total clickbait.
Right.
So I try to watch this movie. I'm not going to tell you what it is. And I could not get 10 minutes into this movie. I was like, oh, is it this type of movie? And so I email Tim at like 9:30 at night. I'm like, have you seen this movie? Because I can't get through it. And he made the most honest confession to me that he will share with you tomorrow about this movie. So you'll want to tune in. That'll be in the 1:30 hour of the Nikki Medoro Show. So
awesome. Okay, I have one last story for you.
okay.
This is, you've heard of the people that have the dummy in the car?
Yes.
Trying to get the, carpool lane, right?
Right.
This is a character from How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Could not keep a driver in Phoenix, Arizona from getting a ticket this week. The Arizona Department of Public Safety says the man was driving in the carpool lane with only an inflatable Grinch riding next to him when a trooper stopped the car on Tuesday morning. What they call the grumpy green guy in the front seat does not qualify as an occupancy vehicle since the driver was really the only person in the car. Don't stick the Grinch in the car. That is not going to work for you.
I mean, the only thing that I will say about the, carpool lane is, one, if you're going to fake it, okay, and I'm not telling you to break the law, but you fake it this way. You get a damn car seat. Like, get a baby car seat. Put a blanket over the car seat. And then usually if it's a motorcycle cop or whatever, they'll see the, blanket and you'll get away with it that way. I mean, I'm not saying to do that.
Cheater.
I'm just saying
Nikki.
if you were going to, I don't do that. I do not do that. But I'm just saying,
shocked by you right now.
A dummy or an inflatable Grinch is not going to convince a cop that you don't have anybody. But a baby, a cop might be like, all right.
If you're gonna cheat people, cheat better.
Well,
right?
just be smarter about it. I mean, come on. I'm sorry.
This report, sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, call Steve Moskowitz at 888-TAX-DEAL, or you can find him online at moskowitzllp.com as well. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.
All right. Thank you, Kim. So again, let me give some shout outs right now, shall we? The super chat is live and people are loving seeing your beautiful face that she just disappeared on. Your mic's still on, Kim.
Now you've all heard me blow my nose. See, I muted my mic. You could tell I was stuffed up during the newscast. My husband calls my nose blowing. It sounds, he says, like a geese honking. Like a flock of geese.
It's blowing your nose. Yeah, shut it.
Hey, it's cold
that
season.
was awesome.
What can I say?
That was awesome. Okay, so let's give some shout outs. Andreas, I love you.
Love you. That's so nice.
In the super chat, $10 from Andreas, and then another $20 from Andreas, who says, don't worry, Trump will lose. And then another $20 from Andreas.
Oh, wow.
OMG, Kim is as beautiful as Nikki. Happy
Except
holidays.
when I'm blowing my nose in your ear, then maybe not so much.
That was awesome. That was great. And then a CR coming in with another $20 super sticker. You guys are so generous today. So yes, the super chat, you see it. There's a $sign right under the chat kind of little area. And you guys can throw some money our way. And of course, become a monthly Patreon subscriber. Just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com and the link to the Patreon is there. And when you become a Patreon subscriber, you get early access to stuff like my merchandise. So I put up a video and anybody that's a Patreon subscriber saw it. And so let me give another sneak peek at some of the merchandise. So this is the shirt. So this is a shirt that I have. And this is the small logo shirt. And it's a woman's cut shirt. We also have the men's and a men's, like a unisex cut. But let me stand up. Let me put my tissues away. So here it is. This is a small. I like my shirts a little fitted. So there you go. And it has the logo right there. And yeah, it's really comfortable. It's soft. And so you can find that on the show's website, merchandise website, which is the Nikki Medoro Shop with a P at the end, .com. And all of the merchandise is there. And you can You can buy what you want. It's Christmas time. I know because some people on my Patreon subscribers have already purchased stuff, that stuff's gone out. And apparently, at least according to the shipping times, is going to be there before Christmas. So I'm not making any guarantees. I'm not in charge of the shipping, but it's there. I hope you can get it before Christmas, but you can get it all year long. And I'm going to design other things. Somebody mentioned wanting the radio tower that I have back here. I found out from my sister-in-law that she got that for me off Etsy. So she doesn't actually have that design, but I could find it. I could do it. I'm very proud of myself for my website. So I think I could do that as well. So we're all looking, and yes, it looks comfy. It's a very nice shirt. And so I'll display some other merchandise coming up in just a moment. Make that nose blowing a drop. I love it. Whenever Trump talks, can we just pull that and just, place it over his voice, and that'll be the sound of his
That was
voice.
not a dainty one either, because I was trying to get it all out fast. That was a not for public consumption. So
I adore you. I absolutely adore you. I mean, I mute myself all the time because I'm like, meh. And then yesterday, if anybody watched the show yesterday, I had to apologize to poor Emily Hovind because I literally was dying. I decided to take my Dayquil right before the show. So hopefully I have no attacks. But yes, thank you very much. Okay, so let's get into the consequences of a Trump presidency. So we were warned that this was coming, right? So people said, don't worry about Roe v. Wade. Yeah, my ass. So
wait, before you start this, let's just answer this quick question from Sandbug, if we could. Are they women's shirts real women's size or teenage size? Because sometimes you get those fitted shirts and they're like they're juniors department.
That's a good question. I think these are true to size. So I am a adult. I swear. I would say that this is a typical small shirt. Again, I am a 5'1" woman with small breasts. Sorry, that's just it. So if you're petite like me but have bigger boobs, I would say maybe get a large, something medium or a large, depending on how big you are. So that's just my honest review of it. But I do think, these are what I think it's Gildan. They're nice t-shirts. I mean, I didn't go cheapy on the t-shirt, and it's thick. It's not a thin shirt. So real women's size. I don't know what you necessarily mean, but I do think that they're true to size.
Yeah.
But this is a woman's cut. So you know what I mean? Like the sleeves are a little bit shorter and they kind of cut up, but I have a unisex one too. And when I show you the big logo shirt, that one I will preface by saying it runs small. And I think the website also tells you that, but my husband's normally an XL and I got him a 2X and it's perfect. So there's enough room. So that's
I didn't mean to derail you. My apologies.
Let's talk birth control, mama. Let's do it. Please. All right. Okay. So there is a judge, Matthew, and I'm going to butcher this name, Kaczmarek. Okay. He was a Trump appointed federal judge in Texas. He has released an opinion that the Title X program violates the constitutional right of parents to direct the upbringing of their children. Now, Title X is a federal family planning program that provides services, including birth control, pregnancy testing, testing for STDs, infertility, whatever, to adolescents and adults. Okay. So it's basically, should underage people be allowed to access birth control? So Alexander Deandra is the plaintiff in this case, and told the judge he is raising each of his daughters, because it's always daughters, is raising each of his daughters in accordance with Christian teaching on matters of sexuality, which requires unmarried children to practice abstinence and refrain from sexual intercourse until marriage. So he's arguing that the availability of federally funded family planning services tramples on his rights as a father to control his daughter's sexuality. And the judge brought that argument because the judge himself reportedly has that kind of belief system. Deandra is trying to shut down all Title X funding to providers that don't require parental consent before offering care to people under 18 years old. So now I ask you in the live chat, and I'm going to ask you, Kim, do you think underage people should have access to birth control, STD testing without a parent's consent?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, why?
Because I think that the hard reality of life is that you can preach abstinence until you're blue in the face,
Right.
but we know that that's not going to happen, right? We know that's not the real way of the world. And so why then would we ever want to restrict 16, 17, 18-year-old girls from,
What about
well, I will
13?
say
What
18.
if your daughter, what if it was your daughter at this age? Would you want her to have access to birth control at 13 years old?
Okay. So I have to hope that as a mother, I've done a good enough job that she's not going to do things. But there are at some points, and I don't think she
Wait a
would
minute.
be able
Okay.
to because I don't allow her to go places, but whatever. I feel like, I mean, she's not going
Yeah.
out at night. She's 13.
Yeah,
Like, it's
exactly.
different.
Exactly. I hear you. I hear you.
13 and 16 are completely different.
Right.
But I just feel like if she was going to, and if I couldn't control that, then I would want her to be safe. And if she doesn't feel comfortable coming to me, then at least she has somewhere to go that she can be safe, that she's not going to end up 13 and pregnant, because it's bad enough she's 13 and having sex, right? So if she's going to do it and I can't control it, then at least be safe about it. That's my thought.
Exactly. I mean, and here's what else I will bring up, because I know that there's people out there that are trying to instill these morals and beliefs about abstinence and Christianity and all those. Okay. So what I would ask this father, Deandra, is, so what I'm hearing you say is that your ability to instill values in your child is so weak that simply the availability of birth control will make her go against her belief system and have sex outside of marriage. Because it's, if you could impose your belief system on your kid and they have to follow it, I mean, every parent would breathe a sigh of relief, but they are their own person. They are going to do their own thing. And I don't want my kid to have a child too young. I want them to be able to plan for a family and want a family. I don't want it to be this thing that happens to them because they don't have access to birth control. And I think that's worse. It's worse to have a kid that's pregnant than a kid that's using birth control, I would say.
There is a 0% chance that a child that young as our daughters having sex is a good idea. That's not ever going to be the case, right? If that happened, any 13-year-old that, has now grown up and is looking back that had sex at that age will realize it's a mistake.
Yep.
The question is, do you realize it's a mistake because you did it and you didn't get pregnant? Or do you realize it's a mistake every day because now you're living with gonorrhea or herpes or a pregnancy, or you had to have a pregnancy term, whatever, you had to have an abortion? All of these other things can be prevented. The mistake itself is what I'm trying to say is enough.
Exactly.
Right? It's going to be a mistake. You're going to look back on that. You're going to regret it. You're going to be like, what was I doing? Who was watching me? Why did I make that choice? Whatever it was. Now let's not pile on.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems to me, I want that father, Deandra, who's brought this case before that Trump appointed judge, to really think, obviously, I think he wants to control his daughters. And of course, it's his daughters. I don't know if he has sons, but it's always the daughters that need to be chaste and, not be virginal and pure and all that friggin' nonsense. As if they're not having sex with boys, but whatever.
Right.
But it's just this question of the values you instill in your children should be able to come up and be challenged by society, right? So if I want my child to be honest, not steal, maybe not have sex before marriage, I am raising them that way. I am teaching them that way. I'm having conversations so that when I'm not looking, when I'm not there, that's who they actually are and want to be. But if you're raising your children in this way, and then the minute they're out of your sight, they're, having sex with a boy down the street, then obviously they're not, one, listening to you, or don't hold the same belief system because they are not you. So I hope this doesn't go anywhere. But again, it seems to be at least one of the first shots across the bow towards birth control and restricting access to it, which is the most asinine thing I've ever heard of. If you want to reduce underage pregnancy, you need to provide birth control. It's not that difficult. Just make it as easy to access as possible. Have a vending machine in the school bathroom if that's what's necessary, because we don't need to bring more children into this situation. We need to educate our kids about safe sex and waiting, because you know what? Sex probably sucks anyway. I mean, come on. What 13-year-old is going to be good at sex? So just stop.
I agree with CR, who says the judge wants to impose his religious views on everyone. It's a slope we don't want to go down.
Nope, absolutely not.
Who is that person to tell me and the rest of society what should be available to our children? I disagree. Keep your Bible out of the courtroom. Thank you.
Exactly. Keep your Bible out of my uterus. Lori got mine from Planned Parenthood when I just turned 15 back in 1971. First sex, still 14. Don't think it was a mistake. My body, my choice. Absolutely, Lori. And I'm not knocking you. You have sex at 14 years old. You have sex at 14. But you had the wherewithal to be protected. Right? I mean, to get protection, I guess, at 15. That was the most important thing. And you were mature enough to actually know that. And if it wasn't readily available to kids, we're going to be compounding this problem for years to come. Mindy writes, I don't want my daughter to be pregnant at 17. I don't either. I want my daughter pregnant when she is so excited to tell me that she's pregnant. I want my son to be so excited to tell me when he's having his first child with whatever partner he has. Yeah. I want that. I want pregnancy and bringing life into this world to be desired and wanted, not OS. What have I done? My life is over. The trajectory of my life was going this way and now it's going this way. So I don't want that. And the freedom is in having access to condoms, birth control pills, whatever you need to not
we
get
tell
pregnant.
them. That's what we tell them, right? The schools told them that in sex ed. Here's all the things you can do to prevent pregnancy. We as parents say, by the way, there's condoms. This is what this is. This is what
by
this
the way,
is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Here's my birth control pills. Here's what that looks like. Whatever it may be. We've given them this information. And so now we want to restrict it. Right? We tell them to be safe, and then we take the safety measures away.
Makes no sense. Very well said. Very well said. Just on a gross note, walking to Target yesterday in the parking lot, and there's like a used condom on the floor, and I'm walking with my daughter, and we both looked down at it at the same time. We're both all,
She knew what it was.
Of course she knows what it is. She was 14 years old. She knows what thank God she knows what a condom is. I mean, right. She was like, is that bubble gum? I would be very ashamed. But no, it was disgusting. And getting busy in the Target parking lot, though. I mean, at least they were safe. I'll say that. At least they were practicing safe.
That's a Wednesday afternoon. Woohoo.
Somebody had reached out to me on this next story. And I think you'd reported this in your news. This was a shooting in San Jose. It actually happened a couple of months ago, but they've arrested the guy. This guy's name is Mark Henry. Hold on, I have the name here. Just a moment. His name was Mark Henry Waters. He's a 66-year-old guy. All right. And this is in my neighborhood. And I think that's why this guy reached out to me to talk about it. And I don't think we really touched on it too much. So white guy shoots a black guy. It seems like a story we hear all of the time. I want to play you a little bit of the news report, and this is from ABC7, so a big thank you to them. And as you listen to what happened, how are we as a society supposed to react to this? Because this is a 66-year-old man who has been put or kept behind bars because of what happened. Here again is this ABC report by ABC's Zach Fuentes.
DA says the shooting happened when the 21-year-old victim left an Airbnb rental to walk to a grocery store. They say surveillance video shows that as the victim crossed the street, he saw the suspect, Waters, leave his house and quickly approach him while holding a gun. In court Monday, the suspect's defense attorney did not deny claims that the suspect knew the victim tried to get away. The prosecutor says Waters shot him while his back was turned. The victim suffered a broken femur.
He comprehended and knew that the victim was running away, and he shot him anyway. There was nothing that would cause him to fear the victim. The victim had not stepped foot at his front door, on his driveway, in his front yard.
We made multiple attempts since Friday to get Waters' attorney to comment in his defense, including at court Monday. He did not. To the judge, though, the lawyer said that Waters' car was broken into a couple of nights before the shooting and that his garage door openers were stolen. He said Waters initially believed the victim could have been one of the suspects and thought the victim was carrying a gun, which later turned out to be headphones. Still, the judge clarified that there is no evidence that the victim, who was not in court, was in any way connected to the previous serious crimes. Several family members, friends, and neighbors showed up in support of Waters. His attorney telling the judge that Waters had no prior criminal record and is a caretaker for his grandchildren. Still, the judge said that the evidence showed that Waters is too dangerous to be out in the public, and he was taken back into custody.
So, a 66-year-old guy, watches his grandchildren, gets his car broken into, gets his garage door openers taken, so he's concerned, which I would be too. I'm going to be fully honest. You know, if my car was broken into, now you can get into my house through the garage door opener, what have you. But he sees this black guy. And whenever I tell stories like this, and I heard this story, and you did it as well, people are like, he was white, the other guy was black. And I'm like, all right, does it really matter? But in this case, am I wrong? Obviously, it matters. He saw him as a threat. Why? Why would he see this guy who's just walking down the street as a threat if it was not for his race? Can anybody explain that to me? I hate the knee-jerk reaction of bringing race into it, but how else could I not? I mean, why wasn't it that person that walked down the street or that other person walked down the street? What could it be that made this guy, Waters, think that poor black guy was the person that broke into his car? What else could it be? And I don't understand how we solve things like this, but the guy was shot in the leg over what? Just being there, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and seeing this white dude walking across the street. Do you know how scary it must be to walk? I mean, and think about this. I don't feel like enough attention, and you can never put enough attention on just walking and living. That's it. That's all this guy did. I'm alive. I stepped outside of a house and I was walking down the street, and this guy starts walking up to me with a gun in his hand. I start running away because guy walking towards me with a gun in his hand, and he shoots me. I thought that you were the guy that broke into my car. What the hell? That is not okay.
Unless the person is currently breaking into your car. And even then, it's a car, right? What do you have in there that's so valuable that it's worth opening fire on someone?
I think it's just being afraid. Yeah, exactly. But again, even calling the police can lead to this guy getting shot, as we know. Now, Mo writes in, it's a failure of the San Jose Police Department. If the break-ins are taking place in cars in a neighborhood, they should roughly go into the community and establish a neighborhood watch protocol. We have that. I have a neighborhood watch in mine. Doesn't mean that cars aren't going to be broken into.
Right.
I mean, my neighbor down the street, who's actually in charge of setting up the neighborhood watch, her husband's truck was broken into. I mean, putting a neighborhood watch sign up in your neighborhood is not going to deter people necessarily.
End the crime, right.
And so it blows my mind. And again, the easy availability of weapons as a response to whatever emotion you're feeling is also part of the problem. And then there's this story, and I don't have any sound to play. I'm just going to read it to you before we go to the news. So this happened 3 days ago. I mean, it blows my mind. But again, easy availability of guns and then people out of their freaking minds. A KFC customer in St. Louis had a violent reaction this week when an employee informed him that they had run out of corn. On December 12th, while placing an order in the drive-thru, the customer learned that the fast food joint KFC was out of corn. So the suspect, who police describe as a black man around 40 to 50 years old with a thin build, because he's missing, proceeded to threaten employees through the drive-thru speaker and approached the drive-thru window with a handgun. A 25-year-old employee went outside and returned to the restaurant a few minutes later, shot in the stomach over corn. He's in critical condition. Apparently he's stable as of Tuesday morning. They weren't able to find the guy. The guy disappeared. But again, this is what we're dealing with, where people pull out guns to shoot people over corn. It really angers me. It saddens me that we just can't seem to get it together enough. But again, as I said before, there's no answer here. No one's going to be able to take all the guns off the streets. We have more guns than people in this country. And it's sad. And I hope that guy, obviously recovers. He's in stable condition. But just another example of people using guns as an answer to common daily interactions. It makes zero sense. Okay, so we're running out of little time. We'll do some news with Kim. I will get to Survivor right off the top. I'll also touch a little bit on the fact that there is a Thursday night football game that should have been a Sunday night or Monday night game. I don't understand why it's on Thursday, but whatever. Another day, another crypto story. I have to throw that one in because you know how much I love it. We'll get into Christmas and who is exhausted and who just loves this magical time of the year. The 4-day school week, I also want to touch on. We have so much. And of course, I'll be unveiling some more merchandise on my show. So again, the Nikki Medoro shop if you want to see it all, but I'll be displaying some of that for you. But right now, let's take a look at some headlines with Kim.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report, of course, sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Wall Street is down in a big way as the closing bell approaches, stocks falling as investors fear an oncoming recession and disappointing retail sales not helping things either. All three major averages were falling by at least 2.5%. A Trump-era public health rule that has been used to speed up deportations expires in less than a week, and Democratic Congressman Henry Cuellar of Texas says ending what is known as Title 42 sends a signal that the border is open. While the Biden administration has repeatedly called on Congress to pass immigration reform to deal with the surge of illegal immigrants. Only 14% of diagnosed cancers are detected by a recommended screening test. That is according to a report from the National Opinion Research Center at the University of Chicago. It states the majority of diagnosed cancers are found once the patient begins to show symptoms or seek imaging or medical care for other reasons. The 2022 election cycle just ended, but Senate Majority Leader is already looking ahead to the next one. Speaking with NBC News, Democrat Chuck Schumer of New York says he is confident his party will keep control of the Senate after the 2024 election. He said the party has to keep its eye on the North Star, which he described as helping people with things that they need help with. 3 men convicted of providing material to assist the men plotting to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer are being sentenced to prison now. The sentences include 7 years for Paul Beller, 10 years for Joe Morrison, and 12 years for Pete Musico. They each faced a maximum of 20 years in prison. San Francisco delaying a decision on whether or not to limit traffic stops in the city. The police commission met last night, decided that they'd be revisiting this proposal next year. The goal is, they say, to reduce racial bias in traffic stops. They're being asked to consider ending pretextual stops. That's when officers pull the drivers over for things like a broken taillight or expired registration tags. Looks like the mayor says she supports the move to stop doing that, but at this point, they are delaying that decision. And again, holiday shoppers are saying, wait a minute, the strike looming in San Francisco. About 400 workers at the Union Square Macy's have voted to walk out 2 days before Christmas. That is only if they don't get more pay and better health care coverage. Their union president says the employees are struggling because of rising inflation and that they deserve a fair contract that recognizes their hard work and sacrifice over the past couple of years. So we'll see if there is a strike at Macy's Union Square right before Christmas. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. So if you need help with your taxes, you got to call Steve at 888 Tax Deal. You can find him online at moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
Thanks for joining us on the second hour of the Nikki Medoro Show live on YouTube. Big thanks to Steve Moskowitz, our exclusive founding sponsor, of course. All right, real quick, before we get into that Survivor finale, I have more merchandise to unveil. Now, this is for Now this size, I'm going to just say, this is for anybody of any size, but this is those that like the larger logo. So here is the logo. I'll open up the shirt, but that's how big it is. Okay. And so this is the shirt. Now this is the one I got for my husband. This is a 2X. So it's the same soft kind of quality shirt. And again, thank you. The Nikki Medoro Shop is where you get all of the merchandise. So yeah, it's the big logo because my husband likes a big logo t-shirt. He doesn't like the smaller one. I like the smaller one. I'm not a big logo kind of girl. I mean, maybe, but it matters. But
is everyone in your family getting a shirt for Christmas this year?
I guess now that you mentioned it. Well, no, I'm definitely going to be part of the Christmas gifts this year. I don't know if it's going to be for Christmas because I still have to order all of them. It took me a while to get the merchandise straight. I wanted to order it. I had to wait for it to come to me. I had to decide if I liked it, and then I had to reorder it and tweak the designs and the sizes and everything. Right. I'm new at all of this, Kim McAllister. I'm very new at all of this. So be proud of me, damn it. And again, we have the cup as well. Everyone was saying that it looks big, I guess. It's I think 11 ounces. I think it's 11 ounces. The standard coffee cup is 11 ounces, I think. So yeah, it comes in black and white. Got the small logo t-shirt, and now we have the big logo t-shirt as well. So you can get it at NikkiMedoroShop.com. I have to figure out a way, like Mark Thompson, to display all of it behind me. Because I know he had the whole thing with the banner. Should I get a banner? I don't know if I should get a banner because
he got rid of his banner. He auctioned it off. I don't know about the banner.
I think he's sending it to me to sign or something. I hope so. So whoever is getting that is going to have some sort of piece of Mark Thompson show. Oh, well, was it Joe Box that got it? Oh, that is so awesome. I love when people that are regulars on the show participate in that way. So again, go to the NikkiMedoroShop.com. You can check out the merchandise there. More will be coming. There's actually one thing that I don't have yet, and it's the tumbler. I love tumblers. They're like the metal cups that don't sweat. So I love to have my cocktails in tumblers because then I can put it on my wood table. It doesn't leave a ring. So I have one of those too. And so that's all up there. And if you're a Patreon subscriber, a monthly Patreon subscriber, you got a sneak peek at all this stuff. Who was peeking over your shoulder, Kim? Was that your hubby?
Yes. And let me tell you, this is his thought, right?
Okay.
So he did it yesterday. He came in and he poked his head in and then he left. That's all. Just like a little
hi.
I go, don't do that to me anymore. That's very not professional. Unprofessional. You have to leave me alone when I'm in my little studio here.
Right. Yes.
And he goes, wouldn't it be funny if every day right about 1:00, I just came and I leaned into the shot and leaned out.
I think it would be hilarious.
He goes, people would start missing it. Like they'd be looking for it. Like, where's Waldo? Like, where's that guy's head in the shot again? Every day at 1:00. So that's why Bozo Galore over here came in again and put his head in the shot.
We love your husband. I love it.
From home, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? This is the new reality. And this is also our show. So you know what? If your hubby kind of pops in, he pops in. I mean, we don't have to be confined, Kim McAllister, by Studio X's or Station X's rules and regulations. Screw them. This is our show. So yeah, we're going to do it our way. All right, let's get into some TV from the radio to television. That Survivor finale was BS. Who watched it? Anybody? Anybody watch Survivor still?
I'm addicted. I have to tell you that
I loved it.
I watched it all the way up until like episode 9. And then there was some type of change where you had to sign up for a pay service or something in order to watch it.
What are you watching it on?
I was watching it on, I want to say,
on regular television. You know that, right?
It was either Peacock or what's the other one?
Hulu?
No, Apple? It wasn't on that.
Prime?
No,
it is on Hulu. It is on Hulu. But it's like the next day. Our friend Carolyn always watches it on Hulu. So I always have to make sure because Carolyn and I, when we worked at Station X together, she's our friend, Carolyn Copeland. I mean, we are a Survivor fanatics. Her family, Brian Copeland, the whole Copeland family. They actually went to the finale one year. That's how.
Oh, wow. I really like Survivor. So I know it's my dirty secret. I really do like it.
I love it. And so my husband and I watch it all the time. And so yesterday's finale, do I give a spoiler alert? Because I'm really pissed about it. And so this is your spoiler alert. I'm going to tell you who won. I'm sorry. Oh, Paramount. Are you thinking of Paramount? Was that the one that you were thinking of?
I'm taking my headphones off.
You don't want to, you're not going to watch it. You're not
going to watch it.
You just said you couldn't watch it. You just said you weren't going to watch it.
I'm going to watch it.
Should I not say it?
Go ahead and say it.
Okay. I think it's total BS, the Gabler one. Now, Gabler was the one that wore like the camo shirt all the time.
Right.
He had long beard. He actually looked like this friend of my brother's. Every time I watched it, I was like, just like him. Anyways, guy was nice. He was one of those under the radar players, right? He was honest, all those sorts of things. He was up against Cass and Owen. Now, Owen, he even knew. He was kind of like, meh. He didn't really have much of a resume to go on to win. And so Owen pretty much knew he wasn't going to win. But Cass, she won challenges. She, made moves. And then all of a sudden, Gabler sells his ass to the jury in some sort of way. He wasn't selling himself to me. I'm like, yeah, you kind of went this way and then went that way and had a good social game. But I felt like Cass got completely denied. Her jaw was open when she was seeing all the votes for Gabler. She's like, oh my God, she thought she had it in the bag. I thought she had it in the bag. Now, the only reason
to show you how important that final, the questions of the jury. Sometimes you think, oh, they already know who they're voting for. It doesn't make any difference. It's who they were aligned with, who they were friends with the whole time. But sometimes those comments really make a difference, right?
Obviously, it did. Now, I'll say this. Gabler did something that's never been done on the show, and we'll see if he follows through, but it seems like he's going to. Like, why wouldn't he? He is going to donate every dime of the $1 million to veterans in need, which is a charity that deals with vets who obviously are in need, probably to help with their mental health and hopefully jobs and all sorts of things. I think that's amazing. Yeah. I also think, I'm not saying that the jury knew that he was going to do this beforehand, but Gabler said it before the end of the show, before the jury vote. And these TV shows, they love crap like this. They're like, oh, Gabler said he's going to donate the entire $1 million to this charity that deals with veterans. That's gold. And maybe they kind of, dropped hints to the jury. Like, he's an amazing guy. Isn't he awesome? And Cass got it stolen from her. So I didn't like it. I thought it was complete BS. And yeah, I wasn't particularly happy, but I love Survivor. That show, it never gets old. I love the fact that Jeff Probst, who does is the host of the show.
Yeah.
He does it so well. Not that I would ever be on Survivor. If there was a show I would never be on, it's that and Naked and Afraid, because why would I subject myself to something like that? But he, when you're doing the challenges, the play-by-play that Jeff gives, I'd want to beat the crap out of him. Like, shut up. Like, why my hand is shaking or whatever. It's like, this is the point where the muscles tire. And that's a great job. He is so good at it. He's won.
Wind is picking up. Look at those balls beginning to move.
It's like,
can they maintain it?
He has the best job ever. I'm just saying, if I didn't do this, that would be definitely.
You're at the 5-minute mark. No one has ever lasted past this before.
Exactly. Actually, this season, another spoiler alert, because I don't know if you got to this episode, there was a challenge where the people did so well that they had to give it to 3 people as a 3-way tie. They had to end the challenge.
I haven't seen that one yet. Yeah.
So they were underwater. They had this cage above them, and they had to deal with the tide coming in and out. And so they had to hold their breath, and it was kind of like waterboarding yourself.
God, I was going to say that sounds like being waterboarded.
They lasted so long that the tide went out. So they were like, it's going to be hours until the tide comes back in. So there was no challenge anymore because the water was low again. And so they had to give it to all 3 of them. That's how good the players were. So yeah, definitely Survivor's excellent. It'll be back in like, I don't know, what is it, this summer or something right before. It never is gone too long. That's what I love about Survivor.
I would have tapped out on that challenge like second one.
Oh, yeah, hands down.
Like being not able to control when my face goes up to the surface.
You have to be calm. And Jeff Probst is like, this is where people start freaking out. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah, already I'm freaking out.
I'll be freaking out this evening during this 49ers game against the Seattle Seahawks. It is bitter, bitter cold in Seattle tonight. They're thinking it's going to be in the 30s when the game is playing.
Yeah.
I heard the commissioner on Mark's show, Albert, say that Purdy's been cleared. I mean, if he's been cleared, he's been cleared. He had the oblique injury, which made him questionable all the way up until today. I want to beat the Sea Chickens so bad. It's a divisional game. I want it. I think my husband was saying it knocks out the Rams and maybe even the Cardinals. I have no idea, but it is a big game. It's huge. And I don't understand why it's on Thursday Night Football. But then somebody in the chat room said that every team, yeah, here it is. Eric, every football team must be available for one Thursday night game. The league sells that package to the highest bidder. Amazon intros to the NFL. I didn't realize that. I was like, how are you putting the Seattle Seahawks and Niners game with two great teams in Thursday Night Football on Amazon? We get to watch it on local TV. KTVU Channel 2 is, I think they're the home of the Niners, so they get the TV rights to air it. So that's awesome.
I will not be watching that game tonight because I have to go to Julia's very first band concert.
Yay!
Yeah, she plays the oboe this year.
Is she good?
So I feel like the worst mom because the other day I told her, you got to give me a break. I already have a hearing loss. You're going to push me to the full 100% need a hearing aid situation.
Right.
It's just like the oboe, it can be brutal, the oboe, when you're learning to play it.
I would say so, yeah.
Is she good? Yes. She, she can make sounds and play songs that I recognize.
Okay.
But sometimes the pitch is not something I want to be in the same room with. Yeah.
And so you're going to a band performance that's going to be instruments in addition to the oboe, not just an oboe concert.
That's right.
And it's a Christmas, I'm assuming Christmas songs?
I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, all right.
It's the only oboe in all of Petaluma, by the way. They had to bring it down from the high school where no one was playing it. They brought it down to let her use it.
Why did she choose the oboe?
Because her piano teacher told her that if she played the oboe and she got really good at it,
right,
that their orchestras or bands or whatever in college, there's always an oboe player deficit. Like no one ever plays the oboe. So if she gets really good at playing the oboe, then she could possibly get an oboe scholarship.
All right.
So when they said you could get the band is going to Disneyland this year, she's like, oh, well, a trip to Disneyland plus the oboe, I'm in.
There you go. Yeah, my son's learning the saxophone and he's pretty good. I mean, but it's the same sort of thing. I was literally prepping for the show yesterday and he was practicing his sax in front of me and he's just the same way. Like it sounds really good and then there's that one off note, that they're still learning.
Yeah.
But it is the dues that we pay as parents. Absolutely.
That's what Murphy writes. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. Well,
she got the lonely oboe.
Let's talk a little bit of holidays, shall we? Anyone else exhausted? I am exhausted. I think my daughter has had, let's see, she had one white elephant party on Monday. She has another one tomorrow. In addition to Secret Santas with some of her friends and a gift exchange with other friends. It's never ending. I did a short. If you guys want to check out my YouTube shorts, this one went really popular. Apparently, a lot of parents are feeling me. I did a duet with this mom saying, just in case you need a reminder, there is some sort of cookie exchange, Secret Santa nonsense going on that you need to be prepared for tomorrow, because they always let you know like the day before. And so here's your reminder, parents. Your kid has probably not told you about something that is due tomorrow, that's the last day of school for your kids too, right? Is tomorrow?
Nope. They have a whole nother week.
What are you talking? They go to school all next week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they go to school all next week. Next week is finals week for the junior high. Yeah, they go to school all next week.
But it's Christmas Eve on Friday.
On the 22nd, I think.
Oh, the 23rd is Friday. What day is Christmas and Christmas Eve? Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah, Saturday is the 24th. Yeah, they go to school next Friday. They get out early on Friday, but they go to school all next week, and then they don't go back until January 9th.
Oh, so yeah, we're a week. So they're off. My kids are off, and then they go back. They actually go back the Tuesday after New Year's because that Monday is the observed or whatever because of New Year's. I don't know why they're actually off on that Monday, but they are because New Year's Eve and New Year's Day falls on the weekend. Speaking of Christmas cards, we were talking about Christmas cards earlier. Check out the Royals. That is there.
Cute.
Are you now this is their Christmas card. It's very casual, which is nice. Are you a studio kind of family photo or an outdoors kind of?
I'm not a professional photo. I'm a pick the cutest candidates I've taken over the year.
Oh, okay.
And kind of put them in a little collage, and that's what you
Right.
get.
I like that actually. I think, it's more authentic
Right.
to define it. Although if I'm going to take family photos, like professional family photos, not Christmas, not just for a Christmas card, I do prefer outdoor pictures instead of going to like JCPenney or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I mean, it just while I'm not knocking JCPenney, I mean, my family did it. If I'm gonna do this is what I'll say. If I'm gonna do a studio, sit down inside a studio, family portrait, it's gonna be awkward as F. Like it's just gonna be, we're gonna like wear the same and we'll have awkward smiles and we'll really make a joke out of it because I think that's really, really funny. You know, the pictures where it used to be like you're looking at the camera and then there's one of you looking off like a dream picture on the side, like the 80s photos. Those are really funny. But yeah, we haven't done anything and I'm not doing Christmas cards this year. If you're waiting for them, they're not coming. Sorry. It's been that kind of year and we're just not doing it. Not at
Somewhere
all.
around here, there's a glamour shot of me from the 80s where I had the cowboy hat
Uh-huh.
and the denim shirt.
I love it. Yeah.
And the
Glamour
backlight.
shots.
Yeah.
I did glamour shots with my mom back in the day. I mean, remember? And it had like the boa across the shoulders or whatever. I don't know. That was an age to live in. Let me just say. Absolutely. Now, your husband did send me this article from The Guardian. And the headline reads, "How I'm planning for a conscious Christmas without depriving my kids of joy and wonder." So I was reading it. And it was making me think of a conversation I just had with my daughter. And it was, well, first I asked her, I'm like, do you count the number of gifts like we give to you versus your brother? Like, is it that kind of competition? You gave Dylan 8 gifts and I only got 6 gifts or whatever the number may be.
Right.
And she's like, I got 2 less gifts last year than Dylan. But again, my daughter, well, she was 12 then. She's also asking for more expensive gifts. So you might get fewer gifts, but the gifts that you get are probably around the same. So do you keep track? Do you make sure that the kids are equal?
I make sure that I spend round about the same amount.
Okay.
But they're still on such different planes. Your kids are closer in age. So unless it's really egregious, like Julia has 20 and Jacob has 5, and it takes her 50 years longer to open them, he's not going to notice. He really isn't.
I think they notice. I really do. I don't care how old your kids are. I think that they're always counting. I mean, do you have any sort of holiday traditions to kind of keep the magic and wonder alive? Or do you think that the gifts are part of that?
I think the gifts are part of that. I think they look forward to what they're going to get on Christmas morning when Santa comes. I really do. I mean, that is part of the fun, and then they get to play with it all morning and they look forward to it.
Right.
Julia picked out all of her own presents this year, so she knows exactly what she's getting.
Oh, really? So she was there to pick it out? She didn't just give you a list?
A lot of her friends, a lot of her gifts she already has them. Like her phone. She wanted a new phone. And so my husband bought her that. It's been taken away. So it might be given back on Christmas, but
oh, there you go.
whatever. But so she already knows. So I'm worried that she won't have enough magic because she won't have things to open. But she claims that that's it, and that's not it. And then you're right. Magic does not equate to gifts.
No.
So I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, I think doing things, obviously experiences, people always say that. But you know what was quite telling? And it was telling for me. I was holding myself to account. Ask your kids, what did you get last year?
Right.
What did you get the year before that? But they can remember the trips we took. right? They can remember the things that we did, but the gifts, while on one hand, I'm spending money on this. I want them to remember it. I couldn't even remember half the stuff that I got them last year. Marley, my daughter, reminded me, she's like, you got me those boots. And I was like, oh, that's right. The boots that you wore for like a month and then you were over them. I swear to God, they're brand new. I should sell them online. It's one of those things, like my son remembers when he got his Nintendo Switch because he loves that thing. He still loves that thing.
Yeah.
But if you can't even remember the magic in the gifts that you're getting people, maybe you should just put more thought into, obviously, the experiences. So for my family, because my brother and we're all going to be together for Christmas and I only see him, a couple times a year, I'm taking the entire family out for an excursion. We're going to go to Top Golf and have food and drinks. And that's my gift to them, because otherwise, what do they want?
Right.
I can't even tell you what I want for Christmas because I don't need anything. I want to go do stuff. And I think when we talk about the magic of Christmas, it really is that, even though so much attention is put on the gifts and what you're getting people and all those sorts of things.
I have family members that are really big on making wish lists.
Okay.
And sending them around. And it always makes me feel a little like, I don't want to make a wish list. I don't want to, because it's like asking people for things. Now, I know you're going to, my family members will buy me something anyway.
Right.
But for some reason, putting the wish list together just feels a little like, I don't know.
Well,
it feels oogie. Like I'm making Christmas about things. And I don't want it to be about things.
If they want to get you something and you're like, well, I've been looking at this thing. So this is one thing that I asked my husband for that I'm not getting, because then I looked at the reviews and I was like, never mind. So I want, because I'm such a wuss and I hate being cold, and Facebook knows this about me. So it keeps feeding me this ad for thermal tights. Any women out there might have seen them. So they're tights that look like they're sheer nylon. Okay. Like you could see skin, but you can't. It's tricking you. It's actually fleece lined. There's fur inside these tights. Okay. Yeah. So you can wear them with dresses and it looks like you're just wearing regular tights, but you're nice and warm and cozy. And so I was like, oh, that's fun. Then I can wear a cute dress for New Year's and it could be short, but I'm actually wearing fleece pants, basically. Right. Well, the first hiccup was, and then I'm not.
If say your husband were to put his hand on your knee, it would be
fluffy
squishy because it's
squishy. Kim, it's squishy anyway.
It's
squishy anyway. Don't worry about it. I'm not a muscly chick. Okay. But I looked up the reviews, and the problem is, while the commercial makes it seem like these are stretchy tights, they're not. They have no give. And apparently some of the reviews were like, after a while, it's a bit too snug. And I don't want to be uncomfortable in something I'm wearing. And then we were going to buy it. And it's a company, the company that keeps feeding me the ads is based in China, and not knocking it. Most of the stuff we buy is probably made in another country. We wouldn't have been able to get it in time. So I told my husband, the reviews don't look good. Don't bother. But yeah, that was the only thing I really, really asked for that I remember. And I never feel bad as long as I want it. If I want it, if I see something, like one year, I wanted all the Harry Potter books and my husband got me that. Another year, I wanted a cast iron pan. I was like, I want one. And I use it all the time. It sits on my stove because if I put it away, I'll never use it. And so those sorts of things I don't feel oogie about. But if you ask me and I have no idea and I'm just grabbing at straws, like, well, I guess you can get me this. No, just let's go do something. Let's go eat dinner. That's what I would like. Let's go to a restaurant or do something like that. So that's about it. Because I'm an adult and it's hard to choose things that you actually want and need that you don't just buy yourself when you need it. Right.
I guess if I told my husband and then someone said, what does Kim want for Christmas? And he happens to know.
Yes.
That's different than making an official list and sending it out to people. Right.
Like so
here are all the things I would like. Give to me, right? Like it just doesn't feel right.
No, and I like game. Like my children are now buying gifts, and so my son was asking me, "Well, what do you want?" So I told him, I'm like, I want something that we could do together, whether it's a game or a puzzle or something like that, because I love building things. You can literally buy me Legos, and I am like a kid in the candy store. I love Legos. I will sit there all day and build Legos with my kid, but these are my Legos. I'm building this. You build your own thing. Don't be messing up mine.
Okay.
I'm really into it. And so, yeah. So I think my son got me something along those lines.
So I have to confess, when you talk
Mm.
about loving building things, so do I.
Yeah.
And I really love Magnetiles. I know they're like a preschool toy,
Yeah,
but
those are cool though.
I have the best time building Magnetiles with Jacob. So yeah.
I mean, I made, and I don't have it in this room anymore. I made like the 3D Pikachu. Took me all freaking day, but I was in hog's heaven. I just sat at the table. There was football on the TV, and the kids would come up and ask me to make them food. I go,
You're
Dad
like,
is here.
Legos.
I am busy.
Do you not see what I'm doing?
Building something right now. But yeah, so I love those sorts of things. And so we'll see what my kids get me. But they're at that age where now they get to make their own decisions. And so I'm excited to see what they get me. Andrew writes in, when I was a kid, I made detailed lists for my parents, including store, aisle, shelf for all the stuff they didn't get. It's like a gift registry. Yuck. Yeah. No, you know, and I also want to mention things throughout the year and hope they remember. That's always a good gift, you know, dropping hints. CR writes, get the regular fleece lined tights. I have numerous pairs and they're the best thing ever. So comfortable and great in colder weather. Okay. CR, send me the link.
Yeah,
The Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. I need a link. I love being warm. And if I can wear my cute little dresses with it, I'm down. My mom is 79. Murphy writes in, asked for Legos this year, an orchid that never dies. That my mother-in-law is the orchid whisperer. I'm not even kidding. Christine writes in, I like Giftster for a wish list. You don't have to put things down. You can list your sizes and favorite types of things. That's pretty. How would you feel about that, Kim? That's pretty cool.
I guess I feel better about it, but you know, the people that are going to buy me things, because it's just we have a very small family, and I don't give trade gifts with a lot of people. I have a couple of really good friends that we do trade gifts with,
right?
And that's pretty much it. They already know my size. They already know me, and
right?
I guess that's more really what the whole list thing is about. It's like, I guess if I'm going to take the time to buy something for someone, I'm going to seek out something I think that they would like, or that reminds me of them, or that I feel like would be special between you and me, right? So I'm not just going to buy you some random thing. I'm going to, I know you, right? I know what you're about. And when you get the gift, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, she knows me so well.
She knows me so well. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So there's going to be something special about it. But if I make a list, it takes all that away too.
Yeah. I love this from Walnut Creek Adult Softball. I had a friend who bought the gifts she wanted for herself and gave them to friends. She would then borrow them and eventually ended up with them. We always called her on it. That's really awesome. Funny. I love that friend. Like,
Merry Christmas.
Like, and can I borrow that for a second? That's perfect. Now, what are the best? Oh, we're coming up on news, but while we go to news, you guys tell me in the chat, what is the best white elephant gift that you can think of? I'm doing that with the adults in my family on Christmas Eve, because in addition to the adventure I'm planning for my family, we're going to do that. And I have some ideas of the best white elephant gifts, because I don't subscribe to the throwaway gifts. I want something that's fun, that's going to get fought over, but obviously isn't too expensive. So we have about a $30 limit on the white elephant gifts. What white elephant gifts do you buy? Do you like to receive? And do you think consumables are good white elephant gifts? And by that, I mean like food, beverage, alcohol, or something like that. So you guys let me know in the chat.
Isn't a white elephant gift supposed to be like a joke gift, like one that nobody really wants?
It could be. Some other people, you know what they also do? They don't buy it. It has to be something from your house that you don't want anymore. And that
like a re-gift.
A re-gift, or just something that you don't want anymore. I mean, like if it's a vase or a picture frame or something. So you guys tell me, what are the rules for your white elephant parties? And what do you like to give or receive? Because I want to do a good job. And I have my idea. And I'm going to tell you guys after Kim's news. And you tell me, because I don't think my mother listens to this show, but I don't think she listens this far in. I don't know. Maybe she does. But I bet if I mention it, she won't know what it is. So I might tell you. But you guys tell me, what do you like as white elephant gifts, and what should I give? Coming up right after the news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. The White House is urging Americans get your updated COVID-19 shot to prevent it from spreading this winter. White House COVID response coordinator Dr. Ashish Jha said COVID cases and hospitalizations are currently on the rise, and he's adding COVID is no longer the destructive force it once was, as vaccines, treatments, and testing are widely available now. The House January 6th committee will hold a meeting ahead of the release of its report. That, according to a tweet from the panel, which says it will happen at 1 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Committee Chair Benny Thompson says he has announcements about criminal referrals that will be made. Former President Trump's favorable rating, it's at its lowest point in 7 years. That, according to a new poll from Quinnipiac University, showing 31% of registered national voters have a favorable view of Trump. 59% have an unfavorable opinion. President Biden has a 43% approval rating in the poll, with 49% disapproving of his job performance. Mortgage rates continue to drop. It's the 5th straight week that this has happened. Freddie Mac reporting the average for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage was 6.31% for the week ending on Wednesday. That is down from 6.33% the week before. This is kind of a story. A San Diego police officer is recovering after a suspect bit his finger and took a chunk out of it. It happened during a scuffle Wednesday evening at the Sabre Springs community in the north part of the San Diego area, when a man accused of a hit and run became aggressive with officers and paramedics. The officer was taken to the hospital to get some stitches. The suspect taken into custody on charges of felony mayhem and resisting an officer and misdemeanor hit and run. Police, I think this is going to be a big story. We're going to hear more and more about this one. Police have a lot of questions after a California Highway Patrol officer, Captain, was found dead in Tennessee after her husband was murdered in Kentucky. The body of Yuba Sutter CHP Commander Julie Harding was discovered in a home right near the Kentucky border. Police do not suspect foul play, interestingly, but her death came just days after a man in Napa was arrested for the murder of her husband, Michael Harding, who was found shot to death in Kentucky months ago. The Hardings were going through a bitter divorce. The LA Times says police are now looking at a possible murder for hire plot.
Yep, that's what I was going to say.
The officer. So, did Julie Harding hire
that guy to shoot her husband?
Kill her husband.
And then she felt the law coming in, and she's like, "I gotta go."
Yeah, so this is a story that we're going to be hearing more about as the investigation continues, but now both Hardings are dead. So
that's sad.
It looks like theater goers are not returning to Broadway in big numbers. Karen Greco, who worked for years in the theater PR, told AM New York today that nobody wants to admit that they're not selling very many tickets. After 35 years, the Broadway stalwart Phantom of the Opera is shuttering, casting unease across the industry. If Phantom of the Opera can't stay open and make it,
well, maybe everybody's seen it that wants to see it.
I don't know. They're struggling.
I mean, I'm not knocking Broadway. I've seen a couple of Broadway shows when I was in New York. But I mean, I've never seen Phantom of the Opera.
I have. It's excellent. When the whole chandelier flies across the ceiling, super cool. My mom took me to see it in San Francisco when I was little.
Do you think that, okay, let me ask you this. Do you think that, and I'm not blaming Hamilton, but that type of show has kind of drawn attention away from other types of Broadway shows?
I don't think so. I think if you love theater, I think that brought more people to theater, right? That wouldn't necessarily have gone to see operatic singing, right? And so it brought more people, a more diverse an audience to Broadway or to shows like that. And once you kind of get into theater, then you realize, this is amazing, and you want to go see it all.
Yeah, I saw Miss Saigon on Broadway, and then I saw, and forgive me, I forget the name of it, but it was a play with Tim Robbins, and he was on Broadway doing that. But that was a long time ago. I haven't been back to New York City in a very, very long time. I'd like to go back.
Me too. I would love to take Julie. That's what I was thinking of getting her for a gift.
Oh,
is
done.
Some type of she's a musical theater girl.
Oh yeah.
So she's got a big voice and a love of the telling of
She's
stories.
so talented.
So I would really love to get her some tickets to something. I'm just not exactly sure exactly what.
Well, apparently you can get good price tickets probably. So there you go.
Apparently, well. All right, this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz for more than 30 years. Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, it's Steve Moskowitz. 888 Tax Bill is the number. The internet website because we know it's on the internet, MoskowitzLLP.com. I'm
There
Kim
you go.
McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show. See, that's what happens when I try to ad-lib the spot.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you, Kim McAllister, for that. Oh, let me do another merchandise unveiling, shall we? Okay. So this one I'm really excited about. I've already used it. Let me lower my music just a touch. Okay. Yeah. There's a website, theNikkiMedoroShop.com, and you can get a tote bag.
I love it.
There it is. It's pretty big. It's durable. So, it's not one of these flimsy plastic things.
How are the handles? Are they sewn on appropriately, or like they're going to snap off the first time I put something heavy in there?
No, they are like cross X stitched. They are on there. They are definitely on there. There you go. It has the Nikki Medoro logo on it, the Nikki Medoro Show logo on it, and it's an eco tote. So it uses eco-conscious 100% organic cotton for the tote. And so there you go. Yeah.
So now, do they ship all this stuff to your house and then you send it to people?
Oh God, no.
Okay.
Oh no. Just go to the website. You have it shipped to your house. I don't need to be dealing with boxes and boxes of stuff at my house. No. So you just go on the Nikki Medoro shop. It's right there, and you can get your merch. And if you buy something, please take a picture, send it to me. And if you send it to me, that's giving me permission to share it on the show, of course. And I'll share it, and you guys can rock it. And then you can tell your family and friends, and it will remind you to do all the things that will help us grow the show in 2023, of course. Like, subscribe, share, click that thumbs up. All of those things really help us out. And the biggest thing, of course, is to become a monthly Patreon subscriber, because Patreon subscribers will always get early access to everything on the show. So they've already had a couple of days with the merchandise. Many of you have purchased stuff, and I appreciate it. And so, we'll do some cool videos that maybe will only be on the Patreon page, because we want to, give back to those who support this show every single month, because it's very important. Absolutely. All right. So let's talk white elephant. So my daughter, like I mentioned earlier, she had a white elephant on Monday, and then she has another one on Friday. And I love these invitations, right? Especially for kids. Bring a gift for white elephant if you want to participate. Who the hell wants to go to a party and not participate in the white elephant gift exchange? So obviously you have to get a gift, or your kid's going to sit there with their thumb up their butt, like while everybody else is exchanging fun gifts. So now I have to find another white elephant gift. What did we get? The last time my daughter picked out, because this is for her cheerleading group, a lip gloss and some sugar scrub, in the shower, sugar scrub stuff. And she wrapped that up. She got a snowflake waffle maker, like a mini waffle maker, and it puts a snowflake on it. So she really wanted that. And so she got that. But you guys tell me in the comments, what are good white elephant gifts? What would you want? What do you give? So here is what I was thinking of purchasing. Okay. I was thinking about getting the squatty potty. Do you know what the squatty potty is?
I have a squatty potty. Indeed.
Oh, do you like it?
I do.
Do you think it's a good white elephant gift? If anybody doesn't know, a squatty potty is like basically a step that you put your feet on while you go to the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
So it's supposed to put your body in better alignment to go to the bathroom, right? Is that a good way of selling it?
It's supposed to do. Now, I don't know if it works. The advertisement says, oh, you put your feet right up and everything comes right out.
Is that really the ad? Well,
somehow a squatty potty ended up in my bathroom. But it's funny because I always like to put my foot up on something. And so for me, I like that.
Okay, so this might be a little TMI, but that's my MO. I'm short. And so sometimes, even though, yes, my feet touch, sometimes if I'm, there too long, the feet can go numb. So, a squatty potty could probably help with something
There you
like
go.
that,
You
right?
have it.
The other thing I was thinking to keep it in the bathroom theme was a bidet. I remember I purchased my bidet during COVID and it was like $30
Right.
and life-changing, Kim McAllister. I am telling you, I am disappointed in going anywhere else to the bathroom. I am a convert to this bidet and it's not expensive. It's easily attached. So I
Okay,
was
you have to
thinking that
send
as
you have
well.
to send me the link to that bidet.
Oh, it was the best thing I purchased during COVID. And I will never be disappointed in it. It has never disappointed me. All
Dorian
right.
says, I bought a silver suit that someone gave me. I brought it to a white elephant party that made the rounds for 5 years, and we still laugh about it.
Really? A silver suit? That seems expensive, though. I have a $30 limit. Jim writes, some people hate the pressure of picking new or stealing, lots of yelling. I just always steal the first gift to give the first person a chance to something besides sitting there forever. Yeah, but so the rules, some people disagree about the rules. I thought the first person, yes, they have to wait for everyone, but the benefit of being the first person is now you've seen everybody else's gift and you get the last steal. So
Yeah, I thought that was the way it was too.
I thought that was the way it was. The squatty is life. See? So I'm thinking, oh, and with some poopery. I have poopery. Do you have poopery?
I do.
The
My
spray?
mom put it in my stocking last year.
Yes.
I don't know what she's trying to say.
Well, it's that you go over and you blow up the toilet all the time, so use some
No,
spray.
what's funny is I
obviously.
put some in her stocking and she put some in mine because it was right at the counter at, I think, Sephora or Ulta Beauty
Something
or
like
one of
that.
those.
Yeah,
And I thought, oh, that's kind of a funny gift, and boom. So
Yeah. Some people say gift cards for white elephants. I just feel like, yes, I could do scratchers, like do a scratcher tree. But the problem with that is my family comes from Arizona. And so I guess they can make sure they go to the gas station and turn them in because you can't turn in California lottery tickets in Arizona, obviously. Natmate writes, I have a cat, which to some people translates into let's buy her crap with a cat on it forever and ever. So I save those for white elephants. That is so true. Never tell somebody that you have a favorite animal. One of my best friends when I was younger, she loved turtles. Everybody would get her turtle stuff. And she's like, okay, I'm done already. Like, I don't need
done with the
a
turtles.
turtle with everything. Nick writes, the best gift I got and still use years later is a mini shop vac. Ooh. But again, people, that sounds expensive. I have $30. I mean, it could be 35 or whatever, but I'm not trying to go too much over it because again, I'm taking my whole entire family out for a night on the town. That's going to be spendy enough. What I bought Shave and Play Barbie off Etsy for my family exchange. Shave and Play. Okay, I don't like to type. Okay, Shave.
I don't even know what that is.
And Play. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Oh my God. All right, hold on. I'm going to show you a picture. This is disturbing. Hold on. Oh, should I just share? I'll just share my page. I was going to.
Yeah.
Let's just do this. Here we go. Are you ready?
I don't know.
There it is. Do you see it?
Oh, you shave her face?
Sometimes it goes beyond just that whisker on your chin. Sometimes it is the whole face. So there we go. That is all right. I mean, that's funny. That's a funny one. So what do you guys think? Do you like funny or do you think it should be something? Because I'm leaning towards I want it to be something that they fight over, but that I would want. I want to buy something that I would want. So I would want the squatty potty, So Sandberg, this
So
year I got a
noted.
ceramic cat that holds a tissue box. I got that for my sister-in-law one year. So my sister-in-law was going through a hard time and she loves cats. And so I bought her. And the ceramic cat's big, by the way, Sandberg. You know what I'm talking about. I thought it was like this little tiny, it is like a cat size. And the tissues come out of the butt. And so I sent it to her and I was like, hopefully if you're ever crying, this will make you laugh every time you grab a tissue out of its ass. So, Nick, Kohl's has a mini car vac for $15. I could use that. My car is a disaster all of the time. A Chia Pet Yoda. Hold on 1 second. Kim, keep talking.
I have to buy a white elephant gift for my 13-year-old daughter who's having a little lunch the day school is out with about 12 friends from school. And I don't know what to buy for kids for a white elephant gift. Because, I mean, some of the stuff like a squat. Oh, wait, what is that?
That's the
Chia Pet the child. Okay,
It's a
where did you
I
find
had
it?
that up here. I probably had it. Maybe I should just give this to my daughter for her white elephant.
That is
Calvin.
it. That is exactly it. I was
never
just
been
saying,
open. It's
I was
never
just
been
saying, I
open.
actually need a white elephant gift for a 13-year-old kid party. That's it.
See, it's literally been sitting like Calvin when you mentioned it. I was like, do I not have that right there? Like, I was like, I have it right there. So here you go, Matthew. There you go. That's a good idea. Actually, I mean, thank you, Calvin, because I might just wrap that up for my kid. What about those weird flavor candy canes? See, okay, so consumables. Do you guys like consumables for? So some people say booze is always good. C's candy, nuts. My husband loves like the summer sausage. You know those summer sausage and cheese thingies. I don't know. I guess because I don't want that. I could buy my own booze, right? Unless you make it cute. There was one idea where it's a gigantic like jar and you put mini cans of soda and then the mini bottles of alcohol that make drinks. So that could be a good idea. But what if somebody doesn't drink?
Then that's the gift they get stuck with. Yeah.
Yeah, that's finger chopsticks. That's weird. All right. I mean, I like white elephant parties. I think that it's always a fun thing to do. Another game that I'm going to play. Have you ever heard of the game Left, Right, Center?
I think I've heard of it, but I haven't played it.
So I saw a video of these kids playing it, and it looked so much fun that I'm getting it for my family to play during Christmas. So, and you could play for money or you can not play for money, but I think you're supposed to play for money. So you have like $3 in, $1, $1, and then you roll these 3 dice, and it either has an L, an R, a C, or a dot. And if it's a dot, you don't have to hand over any money. And if you do, like if it's 2 L's, you have to hand $2 to the left. And if it's to the right or to the middle in the pot, and then whoever wins gets the pot. You know what I mean? So I'm
cool. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna play that. Yeah. See, Walnut Creek adult softball, so much fun. Play for money. Yeah, I'm gonna play that game. So that game has my family screaming. So I'm excited.
Really? Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
saw it
I
online
like
and
it.
it looks really fun. And my family's loud, as if I needed to tell you that. So it'll be something fun that we can do. And the kids can play too, because it's $3, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even if you had $9, you play 3 games of it and win some decent money. I mean, geez, if you have a big enough family, it'll go very quickly. All right. We have about 9 minutes left. Speaking about things that people can buy, let's keep it in this. I have stories that I'll just save for tomorrow, but let's end it on this. Did you see this company? It's called Noggin Boss. Apparently, a Washington Commanders running back by the name of Brian Robinson wore one of the hats from this company, Noggin Boss. I'm going to show you the picture. Now, you tell me. I mean, I understand that there's like collectibles and things like this, but here is the player. It's a big hat company. That's an actual hat. These are the founders of it. They were on Shark Tank.
So
I'm
does it
assuming there's
have
foam
like
inside.
some type of internal thing that makes it stay on your head.
Yeah, so I guess there's some sort of foam in it.
That's
Would any
really
of you buy
unattractive.
this? That's what I'm saying. I'm like, but apparently, since Brian Robinson with the Washington Commanders wore that big hat, let me show you the picture again, wore it in the locker room, sales for Noggin Boss have spiked 2,000%. 2,000%. I mean, I don't know.
Now
I don't
all
think
we
I
have
would
to
ever buy
do
that hat.
is get him to wear a Nikki Medoro Show t-shirt.
There you
We are set.
go. There we go. You can have the tumbler. You can have see that bag he's holding? That should be a Nikki Medoro Show tote bag, right? That's what I'm saying. All right, let's bring in our exclusive founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz. And Steve, thank you so much for supporting the show. We really appreciate you. And thank you for everything you do for the people that watch our show and call into your company because you have given people so much help. I mean, we've told the story already, but tell it again. I mean, a guy hit the lottery by one, being married to the right woman, and of course, giving you
Most important of all.
call. Exactly, right?
Well, thanks. And I realize people's facts, circumstances, and results can differ. But here's a case that I just picked up in the past couple of days. Gentleman went to somebody else to do his ERC, and he got a check for $100,000, and he was happy. $100,000. But then he started talking with his buddies, and his buddies had much smaller companies, but they were getting a lot more money. Like one of his buddies had a much smaller company, and the buddy got a check for $300,000.
Wow.
So he called me, and I discovered that the other company only did the easy test, the math test, the drop in gross revenue. And there's different periods that you do the calculations for. So they just singled in on that one period. And we went ahead and we went over the facts and circumstances test. And the wife already had this pegged. Because every point I brought up, she had already brought up to her husband. It was kind of like, see, I told you, see, I told you. Every point.
We live for that, Steve. We live for those moments. We really do.
I bet. But every point that I brought up, she had previously brought up to him. He qualified for it. And instead of being eligible for $100,000, he was entitled to 1.1 mil, which means he had left $1 million on the table. And the reason that he called me is because he heard me talking about this other method. There's two methods. Either one will work. The law clearly says either or. The easy method, drop in gross revenue, it's math. 1 + 1 is 2, nothing to think about. And the firms that are doing that can mass produce them. No thinking, just do the math. But a lot of people did not have the required drop in gross revenue, but do qualify under the facts and circumstances test. And if that's the case, you can get every bit as much money using the facts and circumstances test. Again, remember, the law says either or, but so many firms are ignoring that because it's so much easier to just do the easy test and mass produce them.
Of course it is. It's always easier to do the easy work, but we call you. We want people to call you because you do the hard work that other companies are just not willing to do. So give Steve Moskowitz a call. You can literally hit the lottery by giving him a call and listening to your significant other. 888 tax deal or MoskowitzLLP.com. That's MoskowitzzLLP.com. Thanks, Steve. Have a good one.
Thanks so much, guys.
Bye. Yeah. So obviously, Steve is the man to call if you have any sort of tax problem. You got to get that money. I'm telling you, get your money. Okay. Let me just read a couple of more comments in the live chat. Everyone's not liking the hat, but this is my favorite. That hat reminds me of Rick Moranis' character in Spaceballs. Remember, he was like Darth Vader, but he had the gigantic hat. Great movie and callback, by the way. I absolutely love it. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that. Well, thank you guys all. It was a great show. Let me again, while I'm thinking about
some of these donations up because I just
yes.
Highlight that. Harry for $20.
Please. Thank you, Harry. Mwah. Richard with the $10 in the live chat. Thank you, Richard. I adore each and every one of you. That Vilma, your super sticker, you are a longtime listener or viewer of the show. Thank you.
And your fireplace is gorgeous.
Oh, did she send you a picture of her fireplace?
And so pretty.
Oh, Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. That was the fun game that we should play from Sandberg with a $10 donation. I've never heard of Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, but I will Google it and I'll see. Yeah, because I was seeing left, right, center. That's a good one. Thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And of course, go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. Please share the show with your family and friends, especially during the holidays. You can tune in anytime. Obviously, our shows stay up there forever, thanks to YouTube. And it was a great, fun show today. Got all the merchandise. Again, let me show you guys. We have the small logo t-shirt. This is a size small. We have the big logo shirt. And this is a 2X, which fits comfortably for people that normally wear an extra large. So it runs a little bit small in the big logo shirt. We do have the tote bag. And I'll find a way to hang all these so I don't have to hold them up like this, like I'm a QVC model. The tote bag, an eco-friendly organic cotton tote bag. And then, of course, the mug.
I like it.
It is all great. So go to the NikkiMedoroShop.com and get your merchandise, and you might get it in time for Christmas. I think some people are. So there you go. And then tomorrow, you won't want to miss. I'm going to be speaking with Tim Sika. We'll see if Avatar, what is it, The Way of Water or something like that.
You got it.
All right, good. So it's 3 hours. So I don't know if you're going to wear adult diapers or just miss some of it, but there you go. Twitter, we never got to this story. We never got to the story of the 4-day school week. So we'll get to that, I promise, tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
We never got to that. Twitter has suspended the account at Elon Jet, even though Musk said he wouldn't suspend it. And then Twitter actually owned Musk on his own tweet. It's kind of convoluted, but it's totally typical. We will also get into an interesting question posed by a CNN legal analyst about what do you do when your bully wants to connect online. So it's a really interesting question of, do you be the bigger person, or do you just be like, nah, screw that guy,
Well,
I'm done?
are they trying to connect to apologize?
Or just connect and kind of forgetting that they were a complete a-hole, I guess. So we'll talk about that, so much more. Thank you again to everybody that donated in the live chat, to everybody that supported the show, that has shared it. We appreciate you. We love you. Please continue to do so. It's the holiday season, and tomorrow's Friday. Go Niners, baby. We'll talk tomorrow. Take it away, Jake. Where's my Jake? There's my Jake.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're all so the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.